another whole wrinkle to this entire thing is, of course, climate change, right? And we did this project where we were looking at the diets of bears in the greater Yellowstone region. And we found that they really rely heavily on seeds from the white bark pine tree, which is all throughout the Western United States. But it's completely dying off right now. Like right now, you just look out and you can see swaths and swaths of this dead tree. And it's because there's a beetle that infests the tree. It's a native beetle. They have a relationship, but usually the winters are so cold that the beetle population numbers die off every year. It's really small amounts, so the tree can live, everyone's fine. But now the temperatures are so high that the beetle's not dying off and the trees are just dying in droves. And so, so then the grizzly bears are affected because they need the seeds from these trees. So anyway, so just, I can't remember which
Well, no, but then the bear has to go out and go find a few campers at Yellowstone because.
So Rat Island. It sounds like something out of King Kong is on Rat Island. Like, how did you even find this place,
Before I went and got my PhD at UC Santa Cruz, I worked for NOAA for the National Marine Mammal Lab, and I worked up and down the Aleutian chain and in the Pribilof Islands in Alaska, doing work with mostly seals and sea lions. And then I knew that there were these invasive rats and there's invasive cattle out there and some invasive reindeer. And so when I started my PhD, we decided that I really wanted to investigate the impacts of these rats on these islands, because the PhD advisors I worked with were really into studying invasive species. Right. And I had never actually stayed overnight on these islands. I'd been on ships and we would sort of target the island, come in, work on the seals or the sea lions, and head out. And I was super stoked because I knew I would get to actually stay on these islands and really investigate them. And one of those islands was Rat Island. And so,
Wait, what was it like spending time on, first of all?
But what was the first night on Rat Island like?
I'm so happy you asked this because I remember planning for this and bringing earplugs because I thought, okay, if I hear the rats just like running amok all over this island, I won't like it. So I'm going to bring earplugs and I'm just going to go with it. And the first night it gets dark pretty late because you're in Alaska. And the first night we're walking around, I had drugged my friend Shauna, who's also a researcher with me, and it's just her and me. And as soon as it turns dusk, there's like rats running everywhere, right? And so you're like, oh, and you can't help but be startled, even though they are just like wild animals. It's like squirrels or something that you would see. And you sort of
which are also, you're going to hear them running up here too.
You would think you would. And so I'm in my tent and they didn't try to chew through the tent. We were careful with our food. We kept it sealed up. They didn't try to get in. I assumed they would try to get in. It just, you think rats and you think like back alley New York, and it's just like not great. But by the second or third day, it's just like squirrels and they're running around. You can't hear them.
How many like approximately did that?
100. I mean, everywhere. Like they're everywhere. But during the day, they're nowhere. So it's only once it starts to get dusk. And we actually stayed up. I got these night vision binoculars from some Russian company. We stayed up many nights in a row overnight to watch their behavior. And that was amazing. We're just sitting there watching them and they're like fighting and they're defending their territories and they're eating all these little amphipods in the intertidal beach wreck, the dead kelp that comes up, and they're fascinating and they're just everywhere. I mean, it's not like covered or anything, but there's plenty of rats running around and you just think, well, where did they all go? And then they have this crazy kind of frenzy at dusk, a couple hours into the night, and then everybody kind of goes away. And then right before dawn, there's another hour or two of frenzy where they come back out and they eat and run around, and then they kind of vanish for the daytime.
So Carolyn, for the audience, okay, just tell us where the island is. Just jump in. But what island, where, what, kind of set up what the problem was on the island.
So if you picture Alaska, there's this chain of islands that comes out of Alaska on the way to Russia, and it's the Aleutian Island chain. And about 2/3 of the way down, there's a group of islands called the Rat Islands, because they're all ratty, but except for one now isn't. And there's about 17 or 18 islands throughout that chain that have had rats introduced to them. This particular island had rats introduced via a Japanese shipwreck in the 1700s. But most of the rats came during the World War II, and the Japanese and the Americans were out there, and they just jumped ship. And then what happens is rats are one of the most problematic invaders worldwide. They've invaded at least 90% of the world's islands. And whenever they go anywhere, they just mess everything up because they're voracious omnivores. So they just eat everything. And islands are really high levels of, they have high levels of biodiversity because there's a lot of endemism on islands, or things that only appear on islands, species that only appear on islands. So when you get a rat going to town on the native species, they quickly diminish those species. And our particular question for these islands was, how do invasive rats impact the rocky intertidal system? So if you go out on a beach at low tide and it's a rocky beach, you'll see all kinds of cool critters in the tide pools that live there. We were interested to see what the rats were doing to those environments, those habitats. Turns out they eat all the birds on the islands, and the birds usually eat the things that are in the intertidal, like the little snails.
Wait. How do they eat the birds? The birds are flying around.
Okay, so the birds like to nest on these islands, right? So seabirds like to nest on particular islands, and the Aleutian Islands and the Pribilof Islands in Alaska have tons of nesting seabirds on them. So when the birds are nesting, the rats will get the eggs, they'll get the chicks, they can even attack adults. So you get to an island that has rats, and you almost immediately know it has rats because it's dead quiet. There's like no birds like going crazy, like, squawking and flying all over the place. And so you pick up almost immediately, oh, this is a ratty island because it's quiet. And then the islands that don't have the rats, there's just bird cacophony all the time. So without the birds were no longer foraging in the intertidal and eating all these critters. And when the critters are gone, you get huge overgrowths of kelp and algae that occur in the intertidal because those little herbivores aren't there keeping things in check. So we found this out when we were investigating.
The first thing you said was there was cattle and reindeer as an invasive species. So, cattle, I can understand, but reindeer, how do you know they're what is the definition of an invasive species?
An invasive species is something that has gotten somewhere else. It's not native there. It doesn't belong. And humans have precipitated it moving there, have allowed it to get there. So rats are huge because they're always on ships. They jump ship. The Polynesians used to bring rats with them when they would canoe around, and then they would let them go so they would have food to eat when they colonized new spaces in the Pacific. So they're just anything that's moved somewhere by humans to where it doesn't belong.
So these rats, that they were there because Japanese shipwrecked there, so you can check their genetic diversity and it all comes from one place, or how does it work?
Well, we know that all the rats were brought in via all different sort of mechanisms, but that one particular island that we're talking about that we went in and got the rats off of, that was from a Japanese shipwreck in the 1700s. And then most of the others were from World War II activity and then other ship, activity. And then there's, some of the islands have people on them, but not very many. So just rats.
Well, did this island, by the way, have people on it that are living there with the rats?
No, there's only a couple of the islands that have any people on them. It's mostly just no people. Yeah, so it's great.
You decide you're going to go there, right? You can't just take a shipping vessel there, right?
No,
how do you figure out how to get there?
Well, so I was lucky. Like I said, I worked for NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, for a couple of years before I got my PhD. And so I knew the folks who were working out there. So NOAA folks would work with the Fish and Wildlife Service, who runs a boat up and down the Aleutian chain all summer long, doing all kinds of biological research. So we were able to get on their boat with some grant money, and they took me to all of these different islands. I was like piggybacking on all these different projects, and I would jump off and do my surveys. And sometimes I would stay on a particular island for some time and they would come back and get me. And
so now would you, if you didn't have your friend with you, would you have just gone to the island by yourself?
They wouldn't let me do that.
Right.
I'm not going to let her, even back then. She can't go alone. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you have to have a buddy. That's why I would convince these people to come with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I got great news. We're going on vacation. We're going to the beach. Bad news, it's Rat Island.
Well, okay. The first night we're on Rat Island, I turned to my friend Sean. I'm like, so yeah, we were set up camp, and I said, so you've probably been camping a ton. And she goes, this is my first time camping. I said, welcome.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the oceans, the Bering Sea.
Are you still friends?
Oh yeah, she's one of my best friends. Yeah.
So you go to the island. Now they drop you off, right? And then you just watch the ship disappear, and then you got to figure out where to go.
Yeah, I mean, we really planned it. And I was lucky because I'd been on a lot of these islands working on seals and sea lions. So I really knew what to expect.
Okay.
And we would set up this radio and we would walk up a hill and put a big like antenna on the highest point so we could check in twice a day with the ship.
So how do you select like as you get off the ship, do you feel that quiet?
Yes.
Does it feel like it's incredibly quiet? You don't
Yes.
know why?
Yes.
Okay.
And the first night we stayed up all night watching the rats with our night vision binoculars. I said to Shauna, I said, hey, we can't, no ghost stories. No ghost.
Right.
Because I had already been on a few of those islands, and one of them there we had some ghost stories. There's one island called Kiska that had a bunch of Japanese on it, and I was there with a coworker doing seal work. We were scouting around, and she's like, "Well, why didn't you come when I called you earlier?" And I said, "What do you mean? I was up on this hill scouting for a location. We were nowhere near you." And she said, "But this man was walking through the mist," and I'm like, "It wasn't us." So we already were a little suspicious of ghosts sometimes. Yeah.
So you do the first thing and you see that it's totally infested. They're everywhere. And you sort of get a feeling for them at night. Now, what do? Do you write it down?
So we were doing a couple of things. We were doing really intense surveys of the intertidal on every single island. We did like 17 islands that had rats, and then we did an equal number of islands that didn't have rats. And we would just survey the intertidal, look for birds, do bird surveys, et cetera, to really get a handle on what the flora and fauna were on the islands with rats and without rats. And then we put all those data together and we compare them. And that's when we really saw the huge differences. There were no birds on islands with rats. And then there was just tons and tons of these intertidal critters because the birds weren't eating them anymore. And they were just eating all the kelp down to nothing. And then the opposite was on islands that never had rats. So if you had never had rats, you had tons of birds. The birds were eating all the limpets and snails and whatnot. And then because of that, you had more kelp. Does that make sense? So it's called a trophic cascade. Yeah.
So are you doing this because NOAA's an environmental, you're trying to understand the environmental effects of invasive species?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that this particular island is totally, totally infested. So then you wait for the boat to come back and pick you up and you go back, and then what happens?
So we did all these surveys on all these islands, found out these data, figured out how the rats were impacting the islands. And then my PhD advisors, they have a nonprofit called Island Conservation, and their whole mission is to get rid of invasive species on islands. And so we took those data, Island Conservation took them, and they put together this huge grant with the Nature Conservancy and some other, and Fish and Wildlife Service and some other groups, and got the money to get rid of rats on one of the islands. And we picked Rat Island. And so then they went in and got rid of the rats.
How did were you in any of those meetings, or were you? Okay.
No, because I had done the research to show them what the effects were, got my PhD, and then they did the rat eradication the year I finished my PhD work. And then we were brought in to keep studying the island after it was recovering. Yeah.
Now, was it difficult to get this grant? Because it's like, well, hey, we want to test this on this totally, obscure island that nobody goes to. And, how did they word that to get people interested in it?
I can't remember, but it's part of the Alaska Maritime Wildlife Refuge. So it's a refuge location. So it's a place that's supposed to be preserved. So the mandate is already to try and make it as nice as possible and get rid of things that don't belong. We knew that rats could be eradicated from islands. We just weren't sure we could do it in this remote of a location. And so there was tons of logistics. It had to be done in October. So it was as late in the season as possible so that the rains would come and kind of break down the poison as fast as possible. I mean, all these logistic things we had to get ahead. There was a helicopter that had to drop all the poison over several days. And then there had to be lots of monitoring to make sure we actually killed all the rats, and then monitoring to see if the island was actually coming back. And that's where the restoration part comes in.
Wait, that's my question. What was the point of getting rid of them? You killed them.
So what did you say?
You didn't put them on a boat and move them to another island.
No, I want to know how that process. So what was the process of getting rid of them?
The way that it's been done on many different islands is to drop a poison called verdifacum, and that poison is dropped usually from aerial drops like a helicopter, It's dropped all over the island, and it's a poison that's designed to work fast. The rats eat it. They go in there, they bury them, they go back in their dens, they die. It's like an anticoagulant, just like you would see, rat poison, but it's a different type of rat poison. And then it's made to break down quickly in rainwater or moisture so that it doesn't linger in the environment. And it breaks down to completely inert substances, and it's non-toxic after it breaks down, and it targets the rats.
So do you not return for 7 years, or do you go intermittently?
Wait, before we get to that, I just want to understand, the rats go into the hole, they die.
Yeah.
Hundreds of them, or, a lot of them, thousands of them.
Yeah.
But what happens to those rat bodies?
They just decompose and go back into nature. Right? But there were a couple that were eaten by birds, and that can be problematic. But largely they just, die and rot and go back to the system. Yeah.
So how long does it, like when you shock a system like that, how long does it take for everything to go from being horrible to being, it's going to start growing again?
Well, first of all, it's not horrible. It's amazing. But these islands are amazing, even when they're ratty. We did surveys at 2 different intervals. And by the second interval, 12 years after the eradication, almost everything that we were measuring was back to normal, or had exceeded normal, or was well on its way to normal. So, right. And so we're talking like the birds had come back, the kelp cover was better.
Do you go 6 years after, or do you go 12? Because so 12 years, you said you went twice.
It was 8 and 12 years, I believe. Gosh, I 7 or 8, and then 12 years was the final accounting. And you can see the trend from the 2 data points, because it costs a lot of money to get back out there and do all the survey. We were super lucky to get any money to go back and see that it was actually recovering. So it was well on its way, but then when we came back at that 12-year mark, it was really evident. And we were super happy because we thought that was relatively quickly. It might seem like a really long time, but in ecosystem work, that's pretty quick. And it was really encouraging because now people can take that and run with it and keep doing this type of stuff.
Let me ask you a question. So yeah, you're right. It does feel like a long time, but it probably isn't. Yeah. But at the point when you first went, when it was really just ratty island and there was like not these sort of the birds were missing, is there any way to track, the birds had to come from somewhere? What do you understand? Are they coming from the other islands, or what, like how does everyone know, hey, everybody, we're clear?
We're clear. That's a really good question. And I actually don't know, because there are birds on all of these islands around. And so presumably the birds just come by, they try and nest, and they make it. And so then more come and nest and they make it. And I'm not sure. I know certain birds go back to their where they were born or where they were hatched to breed. But I don't think the birds we were looking at, primarily gulls and oyster catchers, I'm not sure if they do that, because they just have recolonized from other islands that are around that have lots of birds.
And when you went to sleep in the tent, did any of the rats come out again, or were they completely gone?
No, they're gone. They're totally gone. There's been many, many, many surveys, and there have never been a trace of a rat. And so now it's really important that people prevent rats from coming back.
So I have a question about, the birds. Now, with the birds coming back, does that change the amount, kind of the fauna? Are they eating the seeds, and is it a more lush place or flower? Like, yes. What is the visual life now of the island?
So this is another interesting thing about when there are birds versus no birds. So there was another project done that looked at invasive foxes on these islands at some point, and their work, who was my PhD advisor and some others, they demonstrated that if you're an island that has an invader that kills all the birds, then there's no birds pooping on the island. And so the degree of fertilizer coming in from the marine system into this terrestrial system is extremely diminished. And so the islands are really easy to walk on because all the plants are low. It's these like low shrubs and whatnot. But if you're on an island that has tons of birds, then there's so much more fertilizer hitting that island that the grass is super tall. It's really hard to walk anywhere because it's coming up to your waist. And it's very different visually and lush-wise and everything. It looks completely different. If you have birds basically pooping all over the island and fertilizing it, you get a much different vegetation cover. Yeah. Wow. We were always really stoked to be on the island with rats because it was way easier to walk around. The grass wasn't up to your waist.
as giant as a project as that is, and I imagine it's quite costly to do that, what does it make you think about things like kudzu or, the horned species in Australia? Like, as an environmentalist, when we're dealing with invasive species, what does it make you think about these incredibly fragile ecosystems?
Well, it's kind of strange because I felt kind of terrible for the rats in a way, because they didn't know they don't belong there. They're just doing their life. And same with most invasive species. It's not their fault that humans have been goofy and moved them all around and they've taken over. So I have empathy for these creatures, but on the other hand, they don't belong there and they are kind of ruining these ecosystems. And part of my whole reason for doing conservation work is to keep places that are, ecosystems and species and whatnot, to help keep them intact as much as possible. And when you have an invader coming in, that just upsets the balance of the ecosystem. And as a human I get my inspiration for doing this kind of work, for doing anything that I do, really, a huge part of my inspiration comes from being in nature. And to me, nature can be almost anything. And we as humans have affected so much of nature. None of it's pristine anymore, right? So then you start to think, well, what are our priorities as humans? Do we want to spend our money restoring these ecosystems, or do we want to spend that $1 million actually feeding humans? So conservation to me is really tricky, because the only reason I have the luxury of thinking about conservation, doing conservation, being in nature at all, is because all of my basic needs are met as a human. And so when you think about the people who don't have their basic needs met, they can't spend any time thinking about conservation. They can't spend money thinking about it. They just need to feed their families, right? So who am I to sit here and judge that?
That's a really, you're raising.
Although, you can do both. It's like,
well,
but
some people can't, because they're in situations where, if you're thinking about, okay, I need to feed my family, so I can do that by going and fishing these species that I know are imperiled, or I can use a fishing technique that's going to imperil the ecosystem. Well, if I don't do that, my family won't eat. So
yeah, but we need to keep the ecosystem going. Otherwise, we're all going to,
yeah, exactly. So it's this thing that I'm always encouraging my colleagues to think about. We need to conserve ecosystems. We need to conserve nature. The data showing that humans who spend time in nature, it greatly benefits all of us. The ecosystem services, the ecosystem benefits, the functionality of ecosystems is so important. And part of that inspiration is creating what I have called earth connection, and trying to help people who aren't. I was raised going camping and hiking all through the Western states by my family. So I was sort of given my earth connection as a birthright from my parents, but a lot of people don't have that. So they're disconnected from nature, and they're not naturally inspired to even want to do this work because they just don't know.
They haven't experienced it. Yeah.
Right. And so I created this course with this woman who's in our community service learning department at UC San Diego, where I'm a professor. And we put together this course and took students to Iceland, and a lot of it was funded by donations. And a lot of these students had never even spent time in nature. And we were teaching them ecosystem stuff and ecology and conservation. But we were also really interested in immersing them in nature to hopefully try and create that earth connection to inspire people. And it's interesting because all of that work and being in nature and being inspired by nature and being inspired to do this work led me to write this book, The Guidance Groove. And that sort of brings together this idea of being in nature, what it does for humanity, and how being in nature can help you tune into your most inner truth and your most inner voice. And it kind of has brought all my conservation work and my earth connection work and everything sort of together to bring in this aspect that you were talking about, this conservation aspect, and why do we do it, and well, we do it to preserve nature, but also because as humans, we get a lot out of being in nature, including connecting with our guidance, connecting with our intuition, being calmer, being happier, being more serene.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I'm thinking that we've had two different guests. By the way, we did interview a woman who works with the rats to check landmines. So just so you know.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We have a very good rat episode.
I love rats. Aren't they amazing? Yeah.
And so we'll introduce you to her. But the other thing is, we were talking to a gentleman who's saving places in the world, that are safe from, their noise kind of sanctuaries. And so that idea of being in nature, and because what you're really talking about, for me, the subtext is no social media, no computers, no phones, no this and that. And we all deserve that. That's a human right.
Yes.
But all of our
It's a
human
human
rights
right. Yes.
right now are in
I
being
don't think it's
questioned.
about
right?
social media. I think it's more just about not being in civilization.
Well,
you
that's
know,
what
be
I, well,
nice to
Jesse,
each
it's quieting all of it. Yes, I mean, it's about no computers or no, it's like what happens to a person if they get to be in a place where there's no external stuff happening except the world in which we actually really live, the natural world.
Yeah. And
And-
Priscilla, and one cool thing about that, so in looking at some of the data and thinking about this book that I've written, it doesn't even have to be that pristine or great of nature to actually give benefits to humans. If you have like a green plant on your deck and you sit outside with that green plant, that minimal connection with something alive in nature also confers benefits. I mean, they've done so much research on this, and just being able to be in nature can calm humans down so they can sort of quiet all the stuff that goes on in their mind and get in, like, sort of integrate in your body. And you can even watch nature on TV and it helps. So yeah, it's important to keep as many ecosystems intact as possible and restore them. But also, I always want to encourage people, if you don't have access to, Mount Rainier National Park or somewhere amazing, you can get these benefits by just having green plants in your backyard or walking to the park by your house or whatever it is you're lucky enough to have access to. Even small amounts of it can confer huge benefits to humanity, to each individual.
A shipwreck from the 1700s. I mean, 10,000 years ago, there were beavers the size of elephants, walking around. There were fish, giant fish.
Really?
They're pretty big. Yeah, there's some pretty big
armadillos and
oh yeah, they have some pretty big skeletons. Yeah, that they found. Yeah, Priscilla doesn't believe me. I'll have to document.
No, I'm gonna go find out about them in my next phone call.
In any case, the point is, how do we know? Like, we say restoration, but it's restoration to what? When Columbus came to America, he said he could walk across the back of fish to get to the land, and that's gone from the ocean now. That level of diversity.
Yeah, we call it the baseline problem, right? So it's shifting baselines. What is the baseline? Well, we have no idea, right? I mean, there's even tons of evidence showing that, like, Native Americans did hugely impacted the animals in the land, just with hunting. And so, what is the baseline? What are you trying to restore it to? And you can only take these little chunks. Well, we know rats aren't supposed to be on these islands, so that's sort of an easy one. But restoring things, which baseline are you talking about? And every time a new generation of scientists comes, the baseline shifts because nobody remembers what was happening in the 50s or the 70s or whatever, however far back.
Now we remember what's happening in the 50s and the 60s, just want to say. Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's certain, the scientists the baselines have shifted. So that is a problem.
When we look at those eastern forests in the United States and the pests, that have gotten in there and killed them, that seems like a pretty obvious one. But it's like, we talked to somebody who was growing trees that had a gene in them that made it so that the same pest would not respond to the tree the same way. But then you've sort of tried to outthink nature, which is a dangerous thing to do, because nature's pretty smart, and has its own thing that it's going to do. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, you talk about those trees, and it makes me think of another whole wrinkle to this entire thing is, of course, climate change, right? And we did this project where we were looking at the diets of bears in the greater Yellowstone region. And we found that they really rely heavily on seeds from the white bark pine tree, which is all throughout the Western United States. But it's completely dying off right now. Like, right now, you just look out and you can see swaths and swaths of this dead tree. And it's because there's a beetle that infests the tree. It's a native beetle. They have a relationship, but usually the winters are so cold that the beetle population numbers die off every year. It's really small amounts, so the tree can live, everyone's fine. But now the temperatures are so high that the beetle's not dying off, and the trees are just dying in droves. And so then the grizzly bears are affected because they need the seeds from these trees. So anyway, just I can't remember which.
But then the bear has to go out and go find a few campers at Yellowstone because.
I think that's a very extreme position. I don't think
the bears actually mostly campers, they mostly eat berries and vegetables.
Very.
They're living off campers now. You know, it's like, I don't think so.
Oh, I mean, we did start this, Jesse, with this like a ghost story or like a horror movie.
You know, you know, you wonder with all those floods and stuff washing away the roads there, like whether that means that maybe the park will have some time to recover, you know?
Yellowstone's interesting because, you know, they reintroduced all the wolves and that led to a huge recovery because they got rid of a lot of those herbivores. The elk were just eating everything down to nubs. It's really similar to the rats. When you throw an ecosystem out of balance by taking a predator out or adding a predator, everything goes haywire. And so that's, Yellowstone is already on.
Sadly, I think that they're killing a lot of those wolves, unfortunately, you know.
Who is?
Hunters. You can go and hunt for like a certain period of time and they all just go in with shotguns and kill everything that moves. It's awful.
See, now I don't know I know that the wolves have come back to Yellowstone and it's helped restore it, but I'm not sure what the current status is of people being able to hunt them.
It might not be in Yellowstone, but I know that I read a thing, you know, just about they issued permits and people go in with, you know, AK-47s and just kill those wolves.
No, that's in the schools, Jesse.
Oh my God.
Priscilla, you're in a terrible mood today.
No, I just am thinking
like first
of
we're talking about killing the campers.
No, it would be like the rats that we would get rid of. Just think of the metaphor.
Carolyn this terrible impression.
If we got
normally I'm the one who's talking like this.
I'm just saying, if you got rats out of a situation where they're doing harm, the world would be a better place. Anyone can do their own analysis of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you're smart, you'll know what I'm talking about. Get rid of the
we
rat.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But anyway. What are you working on now? Like what's your next? What do you
we have tons of projects, but right now I have a book coming out this summer, that book that I was talking about called The Guidance Groove. And it's really been good for me because I'm a scientist and I love data. And I love logic and I love thinking and solving problems with my brain, but I live my life as an integrated human. And I spend almost all of my life, almost all of my life, really listening to my intuition and my guidance to make decisions. And I wanted to try and translate that way of living, that ease and that authenticity and that graceful way of living into something that people could read that was written by a scientist. So it's nice. Logical. It flows like from this place of extreme logic and it outlines 4 unproductive grooves that people get stuck in when they're only living up here and they refuse to go down and integrate their whole being and their feeling body. And you can get stuck in the inadequacy groove where you're convinced that you are inadequate and you're afraid that everyone's going to find out you're inadequate. So you do all these diversionary tactics to get people not to pay attention, or you're in your obligation groove where you're obligated to do things and you're afraid people will think you're selfish or you won't be needed unless you do these things that you falsely believe you're obligated to do. Or you're in a scarcity groove where you believe that any resource, money or love or access to a good college or anything is scarce. So you have to grab onto it or prevent everyone else from getting it. Or you're in an unworthy groove where you're just convinced you're not worthy enough to even be part of humanity. And when you get stuck in these stories, these untrue stories, you ignore what's true for you. And it's just a guide, a primer really to teach people how to stop believing those stories that keep them in the unproductive grooves and move more toward their guidance groove where they're living according to their own intuition and guidance. And it really did come from I teach these amazing students. I get to teach the introduction to ecology and evolution every year with hundreds of students, and they're these 18, 19-year-olds, and they come to my office hours and they are bright and gorgeous and loving humans who are filled with doubts and worries, and they're not sure, and their parental pressures and their own stories are sort of keeping them off target. And I was like, why are they doing that? What is preventing them from being their most authentic, most ease-filled selves? And I just, over and over again, it was these stories that they tell themselves that just aren't true, that fit into those unproductive grooves. So this book really has been something that I thought could help my students and anyone else who gets stuck in these mind traps to sort of understand gosh, that's not true. You don't have to believe those. You can really get in touch with what's actually true for you, this guidance group, and live according to that. And of course, the brain is a magnificent tool. We wouldn't be talking on this amazing Zoom thing if someone's brain hadn't invented it. They're wonderful, but it can also, it's the master trickster, right? It can trick you into believing you're not good enough, or you're obligated, or that things are scarce. Even when you're surrounded by abundance, people can believe these things. So that's part of what I'm working on. And one of the things that connects it is the ways to find your guidance. One of the ways to do that is to spend time in nature. I mean, I ride my bike a lot. That's how I find it. But also just being in nature helps people quiet the mind. Like you said, Priscilla, quiet all the noise and really connect in with your guidance and with what's true for you. And then once you find that, then you can start to listen to it, and then you can start to notice when it actually works for you. And again, as a scientist, I like to keep data. Okay, I listened to my guidance for that decision. What was the outcome? Oh, now I have another story to support that I can follow that guidance. And so as you sort of move more and more away from the mind dictating everything and moving into your own guidance, helping you make decisions, you can start to notice when it actually works for you, and your life becomes a little more authentic and a little more peaceful, a little more connected, instead of sort of running around. And then, you can use your brain to solve problems and go to Rat Island and get rid of rats and do all the things that the brain is good at. But you can also connect to your whole self and use that to help with the flow of life, just kind of be a more natural flow. So you're not resisting the flow, but you're sort of going with that flow. But it's nothing new. It's Zen. It's all everyone talks about the same ideas, but it's just come through my voice and my lens and my scientific writing style.
And it's coming out this summer, did you say?
Yeah. I am sending it back to my editor this afternoon, and then we're gonna.
Congratulations.
The cover's almost dialed in, and there's a website that supports it, guidancegroup.com. But I really want it to be out this summer, so that's the plan. Yeah,
we need it. Goodness knows.
We all need everyone's whatever version that thing that I just said, whatever version it comes through, we need it. I mean, it's in everything, right? I mean, it was in Frozen 2. Anna's like wandering around looking for her sister, Anna, and saying, hear the voice, follow the voice. And like, Luke's being told, go with the force. And it's the same message constantly, but we all need to hear it in the way we need to hear it. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Carolyn, very much.
Thank you. This was so fun. I love talking to smart, beautiful people like you both. It's really an honor and a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much. And keep doing all this great work, and your attitude is fantastic.
You too. You both. I've listened to some of your episodes. I love it. It's great. You do a wonderful job. And you two are amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm not really this dark, just FYI. It's just.
I've seen you in other things. I think you're lovely. I don't think you're dark at all. You're lovely.
Okay.
Not at all. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.